TransByDef, Jenna here, checking in on new topic for this week, mental transition. Haven't been around for a little bit. I've been extremely busy with stuff, and I have good news. The last of my children are now back in the nest, and it's really cool to have all my kids together at the same time, and for everything to be, here comes the word, normal. As normal as it would be. But it's really a good feeling, and it's nice to have 100% of my family back in my neighborhood. So anyway, let's get on to this week's topic. Mental transition. I'd like to say first, I watched Caden's video, and I would agree that I am the sum of my total life experience, both halves of me. And though I did separate the old me from the new me, I am still a product of all those experiences. So I feel and know exactly where she's coming from. So great video, by the way. Mental transition, very difficult, and stressful beyond beyond all reason stressful. I put everything on the shelf and put everything on the table when I decided to transition, and I didn't worry about any of what my sexuality was or any of that. I worried more about getting through this in one piece. I didn't even worry about whether I lost my job, and that was kind of irresponsible. But for me, it was, I went through my EAP program at work, so I did seek psychological counseling, which in many ways helped a lot, because it let me know I wasn't crazy, and that there was actually hope, and that there was a process beginning here where I might have a happy life, complete happy life. So mentally, I was a basket case. I disconnected from my family completely because I couldn't deal with my parents and outsider objections more than I was going to experience with work. And the sensitive me turned on the guard mechanisms to keep me from losing my marbles. I knew who I was, I knew what I had to do, and the process was to make sure that I had lots of friends around me, and that I was stable as stable can be, because you get into that euphoric stage, and you kind of got to check yourself to make sure that you're living in the real here and now of what's going on. And if you had a problem, you need to talk to somebody. I had a dear friend named Leslie that I put in one of my videos many years ago, that has since passed on, but she was my anchor that helped me. I would sound things off of her. So basically I was using her as a free therapist. She was my social worker. I did find that when I got professional help, because I did know I was going all the way through with this, that would really help me, and it did. When I went to Dr. Michelle Angelo in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania, and she's world class, and she helped me decide what I was going to do and to keep me from making mistakes, as many as she could. But I was inside. I was a basket case. I had all this stuff going on, with 20-something years in a job, and they're going to think I'm out of my mind, and stop. They're going to think I'm crazy, and how do I do this and survive long term? And I have to say that sometimes it was really difficult. The hormonal shift, I was crying a lot, and it was like I had anchors out to these places to keep me grounded. If I hadn't had those, I don't know if I would have survived it. People today some people are finding they don't have to have surgeries and all that, and for me it wasn't an option. I couldn't live in a half world. I already lived, a half my life in a lie and a half world. So mentally I was ready to move forward, and I just needed those support mechanisms to keep me from getting myself in trouble. I think one of the things that came out of all this transition is that, believe it or not, I'm a more stable person than I was, and I do these self-reviews on myself and honesty stuff, where I'm at, where I'm going. I do find myself, and I hate to say this, judging other people sometimes. But I think it's more of like a check and balance where I'm at, and not so much to put them down or feel like I'm better than them, but to look at, here's where I came from, here's where I was, this is what they're doing, where do I fit in that? And, trying to keep the gray stuff up here from spinning out of control, and making sure that I was proceeding in an organized manner that was going to hopefully keep me employed and long-term from losing, though I was going to lose some in the beginning, losing all my children. I didn't care so much for my siblings and stuff. I didn't mind because it was a dysfunctional family anyway. But even today, a lot of them have come back in the realm. So here I am, over 12 years later. I think I started transition 2002 or somewhere around there, so it's been a long time. And I'm still getting things back, and I still got to be careful about the junk in my head. I don't take anything for granted, though I'm still sensitive to what people say. So I'm kind of guarded in my other life. I have to be. Transition never ends, so I don't feel. And Jane and I talked about that once. It's just an ongoing process, differently throughout your existence on this planet. I don't. Different times I have to go back and do a check back up here to make sure everything is still rational, and I'm not thinking out in the zone someplace. I've been able to keep the same job and stuff, but at times there's the mental anguish that the cis world doesn't really accept us. I have people that are friendly with me, but still, some guys from the firehouse will have a get-together at somebody's house, and I'm conveniently not invited. And if I am invited, I don't feel like I fit. So, with the husbands and wives, so I kind of, with some of the wives and stuff. They're all nice to me, but I'm pretty slick when it comes to judging what people are thinking. I think, most of the time. I think. And so I know that I'm getting lip service. So I have to, still do that mental calculations and make sure that I'm not losing it, and that I'm definitely assessing where I'm at and what's going on. But I think the mental transition, going through transition, the mental part is absolutely, positively the hardest, because the surgeries were easy. You just and you're done. But the dealing with people and family and work and juggling all that, trying to maintain your sanity, is really difficult. So and that I think, is something that you have to do throughout your life, not just the transition period. Like I said, it's lifelong. Jane's kind of my adopted daughter, and we will get together like once a week, and we will compare notes and talk with each other. So having a sounding board to bounce things off of, and where you're at and what you're feeling, because most of us have an experience, a life experience that's nothing like this. And so, and all the things that come with the transition in the surrounding atmosphere around you, people, places, things, all that stuff, and where you fit in that really can put a toll on your head while you're transitioning and after. And so you really need to, I think Scientology calls it a sec check or something, security check on your head. Not that I'm a proponent of Scientology, because I'm not, but you definitely need to be doing a regular drop in on yourself and make sure that you're living realistically and true to form, and that you're not your expectations and all are all in check. So it's an interesting subject. I didn't have anything really to say about it. I watched Caden's video, and I could feel some, of where she's at. It sounds very similar. But that's where my thoughts are for this. I'm sorry I've been amiss. Lots of stuff going on. The economy's slowing down again, and I've been trying to work really hard to keep a roof over my head, not lose my home, and spending time with my children now that my last son is finally back in the nest, that's great, because I've seen him so much now. I've seen him more, I think, in the past month than I have in the past 12 years, maybe more than all his life, because when I got divorced and stuff from his mom, it was like once every other week or something. So now it's kind of like, he feels like coming over, he comes over. It's really good. So, and it's nice to see them all together. It's good. It's really good. So, and I got other surprises for come spring. I don't think I'm going to be sailing anymore. I'm getting a little bit older. And I may sell a boat, I may not, but I picked up another hobby out in the garage. I used to be into British sports cars, and I bought one of those in October, and that's kind of like where I've been spending my time doing restoration work. So the old me is still there someplace. So at any rate, that's my video for this week. I hope you're all well and safe, and you have a great new year. Take care. Peace. Bye.